One. Hey guys, welcome back to the Nets, the home of unbiased views. Today we have a really interesting topic that's happening all over the world that we would like to talk through and see where everybody stands with their opinion. With me is Elroy, yet again, one of the celebrities of India, I should say. Hey Elroy, welcome back.
No, not at all, not at all, not at all. But yeah, good to be back here, Kayus. This was a topic of discussion that we could not discuss. It's a massive one that has just changed the way football is going to be in Europe from now onwards. So we had to discuss this.
Absolutely. So here is something interesting, right?
Yeah,
Way back in, I think in 2010, Arsene Wenger had made a statement, and it was absolutely a statement which was not even taken, much into heed. Arsene
yeah,
Wenger had said, "I see more of a European league developing over a time rather than one team going out of the country. The national leagues will survive, but maybe in 10 years, you will have a European league." This was something that the professor had said 10, 15 years back.
yes,
And he was off by 2 years, but it's happening. The
yeah,
Super League.
yes,
How do you
true.
see that?
I think first of all, we have to just take note that when Arsene Wenger says something, you listen. We have to follow that like a Bible truth. There are countless number of incidents where he has said something and it has actually happened in the future. And this being one of the major ones. I think the Super League has been in the pipeline for quite a while. Arsene Wenger has said this, of course, and the talks have always been there. The moment it started to generate, football in England especially started to generate a lot of global attraction. This was something that was quite inevitable. And I was reading a book. It's called Done Deal, and I read it last year. And in that book also it mentioned that back in 2016, the top six clubs of the big six rather in England, that is Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Tottenham. The six of them, their CEOs got together, met at a hotel, and started to discuss this about the Super League. So it's something that has been in the pipeline for a long time. It's just that, personally as a fan and based on what you read, nobody thought that it would happen at this stage. I think given the COVID situation, the loss of revenue with fans and a lot of other things, it has just fast tracked this and it has happened right now. And it's a massive, massive step. Not I won't say it's a positive or negative, it's just a big step taken right now.
So, I mean, when we talk about positive or negative, if you look at all the pros and cons that we have, first of all,
Yeah.
the biggest one that I feel is who declared that these were the 6 or 12 big clubs? How do you rank them?
Yes.
I mean, if you look at all the big clubs, Arsenal, Spurs, and Manchester United, they didn't even make it to the Champions League. Manchester United got out.
Yeah.
They went to the Champions League, but they got out. So, how do we even call
Yeah.
them a big club?
Yeah. So yeah, coming back to the point that I just made some time ago, that this you can say one of the reasons when this took, probably had proper legs to it was in 2016 when these big CEOs of these big six, they met together and they started to make a plan of this. Now, if you look at the timing of this, 2016, prior to, okay, let's go back in time a bit. England typically traditionally had a top four, which consisted of Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Chelsea. Then came the City was bought by City was bought got new owners who they got the financial firepower, and I wouldn't say it became a top five, but yeah, so all of a sudden the teams got back in. There was one more team competing at the top, and then Tottenham all of a sudden under Redknapp they got into the Champions League, and that thing, getting into the Champions League helped Tottenham, and then they made some couple of other moves. They got Pochettino, and if you go to see the timing of all of this, at the same time, Premier League got a new TV deal. Like Premier League ended up getting a lot of money. Let's it became global day by day, and there was a lot of money pumped in. With this money being pumped in, these big six became bigger and bigger. So when they probably decided to have this talk, they decided to look at it. This was back in 2016. Remember, 2016 is the time that Leicester won the title, but Arsenal were kind of at their peak. That is the highest they've reached in recent time. They reached second spot. Tottenham were also competing for the title that season. So if you look at it as a brand value, Arsenal and Tottenham, two teams who had been playing in the Champions League a bit, and especially Arsenal, considering under Wenger had a massive Champions League participation, these two teams just got it at the right time, because come 2016 onwards, Tottenham managed to stay up for another 2 or 3 years by reaching the Champions League final, whereas post 2016 Arsenal had a downfall. But it's just that the time that this discussion took place, all these clubs were at a very, very good spot. And that is what has benefited them. If you take it a year behind or a year ahead, probably Arsenal or Tottenham, one of these two clubs would have not even made it. I mean, Arsenal would still make it. I feel Tottenham would have not. But all these things, the timing of this has just helped these two clubs to such an extent that, yeah, they are being seventh and ninth in the Premier League is, it doesn't matter. You're still going to be considered as an elite club right now.
So, I mean, that all that being said, I understand it's all about the money. It's all about,
Yeah,
playing with big teams, and I can see some pros there as well. That you are, rather than waiting
yeah,
for a certain time, like okay, Jan or Feb is when big clubs start
yeah,
clashing together.
yeah, true.
You will probably now see like an IPL. It's an IPL, pretty much an Indian Premier
Exactly,
League that is going around the
exactly.
year.
But yeah,
But
yeah,
does it not take away half the joy that now we don't have to wait for? I mean, you take away the hype. It's like you're celebrating Christmas every day. It's
exactly.
not
So
going to be the same.
yeah, can this is where I would like to elaborate on this point a bit. This is where being a football fan is all about. Look, you live for these matches. Like Arsenal have not been in the Champions League for a while, but even in the Europa League, let's say the year that we reached the finals, we played under Emery. We played teams like Napoli. We played Chelsea in the finals. We played Valencia. These were teams who are, let's just say, are Champions League caliber. Maybe they are not right at the best, but these are teams that participate regularly in the Champions League. These are good teams. Same way in the Champions League, we've been playing Bayern, we've been playing Barca. But it will definitely, you want to have these matches at a certain point. Do you want to play these teams every now and then? And these games will lose its value. And to come into the other end of the spectrum, I agree. A lot of people will give the example of the overall global fans do not want to watch a match of, say, Sheffield versus Burnley. I agree. Fair enough. Like, maybe it doesn't have a global reach yet. But I do want to watch a match of Arsenal versus Burnley. It's a different kind of a match where Burnley play maybe these long balls or like a physical battle. It's something different. It's a different kind of a thrill to. I agree that we are not at our best right now. We've not been playing well. But as a fan, you want to watch these matches. You want to watch the lowest, I mean, the which would be termed on paper as the easiest match, right? On up to the matches which will be termed as the most elite of the cream matches, and by forming the Super League, you're taking away that factor, which is a part and parcel of being a fan, where you cover all kinds of matches. And yeah, I agree that at the end of the day, the teams might still play in the domestic league, which is still a big discussion to be had. But as you said, you look forward to the Champions League matches in February, like the knockout round, where these are the biggest matches. And to be playing that throughout the year, it's going to lose its charm. I mean, obviously, it will have like that very Hollywood element to it, like a blockbuster element to it. But it, there is, as you said, you put it in the most beautiful way possible. It's like celebrating Christmas every day.
So, one of the examples that you gave out there, Arsenal playing Burnley, I would not take that as a good example right at this time, at least,
Exactly.
because
Yeah. At this
we by
time,
no
it's
means are an
yeah.
elite club at the point.
I know. That's why I specifically mentioned as well that let's not take into account our current form, but it's just the type of the match it is. Sometimes
Exactly.
quality
I
different or whatever.
completely agree with you. And
Yeah.
my other thing is now, okay, we know that the whole point of having the Super League is the massive influx of money that these teams
Money.
will
Yeah.
be getting to begin with. But where is that money coming from? You're clearly going to take it away from some of the other clubs, which
Yeah.
means now of all these 6 or 8 different super cups or super teams that you're
Yeah.
calling or talking about, you are giving them that extra set of money where if
Yes.
somebody like a player who's from Everton is performing, Arsenal will straight away bid 200 million and get that player out of Everton.
Exactly. Yes. And that
So
being
what?
said, you will not even end up getting another Leicester. You will not get another Leicester kind of a champions winners of the league. You will not get another West Ham who will punch above their waist and get top four. I mean, One in a very very rare occasion you will get that, but because the financial power between the big six and the rest of the 14 clubs is going to be different. And again, the Super League is not going to have any relegation. Like, you very well know, like, let's take Arsenal for instance. They are going to be in that league. There is no motivation for a Premier League team. See Everton, even if they somehow win the league, they know that they are not going to be a part of that elite
Exactly.
competition. There is so much at there is so much being taken away from that, which makes it a very, I don't know. It's something which will not sit right. I mean, tomorrow come the league starts, we will all still be fans. We will still follow it with them. But you cannot say that it's not taking away something from the game. And Kev, just to add another point, you said this that it is like an IPL, and I completely agree. I had this discussion with a friend on WhatsApp as well. This is exactly the IPL model, with the only difference being that it will have teams from other countries, but within Europe. It's like a European IPL kind of a situation, and as you know, IPL dominates the world in terms of cricket, wherein it gets prioritized over international matches as well. So this is the same thing that's going to take place in the Super League. The Super League will be prioritized above everything else. It will be prioritized above international matches. It will be prioritized above all the domestic league. So tomorrow, if there is any kind of clash between that, the teams are definitely going to favor the Super League, because that's where all the money is. And
And
it is.
we look at it from one perspective. We look at it from a perspective that we are, just talking about sports. Now, the
Yeah.
ripple effect of this is these games will be played in the middle of the week. So, in the
Yes.
middle of the week, you now, as per normal TV, you will have to create that time slot for a game like
Yes.
this, which
Yes.
also affects or impacts the other sports. Football
True.
is a sport that is global. What
Yes.
happens to all the other small mom and pop games that actually get played midweek because the weekend was already about football,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Now, all the other games are also being impacted because of these
Big
selfish
time.
12 teams or 14 teams that we are talking about.
Yeah.
So, we look at it from that perspective. And again, Leicester, we give an example of Leicester. There will
Yeah.
be no inspiration. Everybody, I know that we came
It,
second behind Leicester, but
yes.
nonetheless, we celebrated that year because you actually
It.
saw a team playing together as a team, no
Yes.
superstars. They came and won the league. You
Yes.
actually saw superstars being made
True.
from that little handful of like 20,
Yes.
25 players that they had. So we celebrated that.
Yeah.
Man City winning, okay, yeah, they're winning.
Yeah. It's
We
just like, let's move on. Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
The-
So at this point of time, truthfully, Arsenal is not even competing for the first place. And I'm
exactly.
not talking about the
Yes.
league position because we already know it's going to be either City or Chelsea or
True.
Liverpool. Tons of influx.
Yeah.
Right now, with this league, like you said, there will be absolutely no inspiration for players to actually, do good in these other leagues in the normal league that we are
Yes.
talking about. And even if they
Yes.
win, okay, now what? We are still stuck here.
Exactly.
Unless somebody comes in and wants to buy us, we are never going to be a part of a team that plays Real Madrid.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it for me is, it's going to take away football. And in here
Yeah.
you have to say kudos to the German league DFB who have refused
Yeah.
to be a part of this. And there
Yes.
was a beautiful article that I had read some time back. It was about how Arsenal has to pay around 16,000 for a season ticket as opposed to Bayern
Yes.
Munich, who actually does a 12,005,
Yes.
a
No.
1,250 euros for a season ticket.
Yes, it's very. I think, and it's not just that. The cost of an Arsenal single game ticket is equivalent to a Dortmund some season ticket, something that way. There is a conversion there, which shows the difference, you know. And yeah, it's hats off to them. See, I agree. Sitting here, let's not. We cannot say that UEFA are clean in this way. UEFA have done enough to protect their interest as well. But for me, this is not about UEFA itself. Like today, we as Arsenal fans, we can. I'm not saying we are going to celebrate it, but we as Arsenal fans will feel the pain a bit less, because at the end of the day, like, all of a sudden, even though we have been horrible off the pitch and even on the pitch, you know we are going to be put in that elite bracket, which is like we won a lottery. But just look at it from a point of view of, we could have easily been a fan of, say, someone like a club like, say, Leicester, West Ham, Everton. What are they going to be feeling like right now? That, like, what has just happened? All of a sudden, these clubs who have been each season they've been taking it up a notch a bit. They've been competing, they've been taking points away from the big teams, they're reaching there. All of a sudden they see that what is all this effort that they have put in right now. Everton are supposedly building a new stadium, like for what? To compete in a Premier League, and which, the end of it, you're going to be in a competition which is not even going to be watched by a lot of people right now, like, which is going to have that glamour taken away from it. It's just
And
it's a very
see
tough
the other,
situation.
on the sad note, look at it. A team that has never been a champion, never won a Champions League,
Ex-
Arsenal and Spurs, suddenly
yeah.
start calling themselves big teams. Why? Because we play
Yes.
Barcelona week in, week out, or we play Real Madrid week in, week
Exactly.
out. So again, that
Yeah.
for me is absolutely unjust to all the other players, that all the other teams like West Ham,
Yes.
or teams who are actually struggling, have got good managers, want to try out different
Yes.
things and be out there. The other thing that it also points out is the UEFA chief right now, he made an announcement that players who are competing in that Super League will never get a chance to play
Yeah.
for their countries in
True.
international tournaments.
Yes.
I was actually making a show on cricket about South Africa and how their
Yes.
system, the
Yes.
Kolpak, has actually impacted South African cricket. This,
Okay.
on the
Okay.
other hand, is going to be the exact same thing, where players are going to choose money over
Exactly.
international
Uh,
duties.
yes. So, Kayu, to elaborate again, I have had this discussion with a couple of friends as well. You tell me one thing, like, if the players who are joining the Super League are banned, do you really think tomorrow the World Cup will be held without the likes of Messi, Ronaldo, Haaland, Mbappe, Neymar? Okay, oh, sorry, Mbappe, Neymar are still at PSG. Okay, maybe they're not there. But do you really think that these tournaments are going to go ahead without these major players? The answer is no. FIFA cannot. I mean, and if you see right now, this is UEFA has said this thing. FIFA have not come up with any, with any concrete answer regarding this or anything. And at the same time, if you look at it, these 12 clubs right now are clubs which, let's just say, have big businessmen who have made these decisions. Okay, these decisions, these guys are in this, maybe not in football business or whatever, but they have been businessmen for a long time. They have got to this stage where they are based on whatever their business background is. So if these guys have come up with this kind of a move, it means that they have all their angles covered. They have seen what are the loopholes, and they have taken everything into. These are people who are not going to be unfazed by these threats, because let's just face it, the fact that they have gone ahead and put out this statement shows that they are ready for what is going to come. So it's not a matter of if right now, it's a matter of when. The Super League is happening, and I think it's just they have gone way ahead with it right now. The fact that all these clubs are, these threats, UEFA will definitely make these threats, and rightly so. Like, if I was, they were breaking, but I doubt they can do anything, because UEFA, FA, I mean Premier League, or the FIFA, they know that without these clubs, or without these players, caliber of these players, their own tournaments are not going to generate that much of an interest. And as you said, like how we spoke about the IPL at the end of the day is going to generate so much of interest. Same way, the Super League will generate more interest than eventually than as compared to the likes of maybe the World Cup or the Euros. Maybe not the World Cup, but at least definitely the Euros. And this is how it's going to be. These threats are, if they take these decisions, like, I would actually have some amount of respect for them, maybe, because for them to make these bold steps, but I don't see it happening.
So now, on the other hand, I think about it from a player's perspective, right? I think about it from somebody like, let's say, Martin Odegaard, and he is playing for Norway, right?
Yeah.
He knows that it's highly unlikely that he's going to win a World Cup.
Yes. Exactly.
He
Yes.
he rather make the money. For
Yes.
him, he may as well make the 200 million that he's going to get on the plate rather than
Yeah.
win. So yeah, you
True.
will have those players who are going to choose club duties
Yeah.
over international duties. But it's
Yes.
going to, on the other hand, if you look at it, players from smaller countries might actually start performing better, because now they know that they have a chance at the World Cup.
They
And
have a
World
chance
Cup
at
is
the, yeah.
final, it's the biggest
Yeah.
thing you can think of.
True. True. That is definitely
So
there.
I can see this going the other way, with smaller countries and other countries from Africa and South America and
Yeah.
maybe Asia starting to step up and up their game a little bit, because now they know that yes, we have a shot. There is no Messi, there is no Ronaldo in the World Cup
Yeah.
anymore. and somebody like a German team who's always known to be, one of those that always plays in the World Cup in the
Yeah.
knockouts, they have a bigger shot because they are not being a
Yeah.
part of this. France as well. PSG also has a shot. So
Yeah.
on the other hand, all these small teams might actually start building on a British core or a German core, or they will start bringing all these players together. But again, it also
Yeah.
depends on the player and their morals as to what do they think is bigger. A club
Exactly.
like
Yeah. Because
would,
see,
yeah,
yeah,
go ahead,
at
go
the
ahead.
end of the day, the fanfare as well. See, because look, one thing is that Super League will generate global interest like no other. Like, it's not going to be restricted to a particular region or anything that way. It's going to be all over the world. And, that is how it's going to be like. And when you get so much of an interest, these players will know where the money is, where the fanfare is, where they can build their brand. And that would be the Super League. Either way they do not get paid. Probably, I don't know how much it is, but I doubt that the payment that they get from their respective countries football associations would be fractional as compared to what they would probably get at their club. So yes, there are going to be like, and how many people are going to be there playing for their national pride right now as compared to make a lot of money and set you be ready for your retirement. So it's a very uh, different situation that we have come
Right,
across.
and there was this one time in the Spanish team when all the players that were chosen were either playing in Barcelona or were playing in
Barcelona,
Madrid.
Real Madrid, yes.
Yes. And Mikel Arteta was one of those unfortunate ones who was, in those days where he was in between Everton and Arsenal, where he was a
Yeah.
decent footballer. He wasn't exceptional, but he was
Yes, he was.
decent. And if he was in any
Yeah.
other country, he would have played for the national country, at least been on
Yeah.
the bench or been a
True.
sub, one of
Yeah.
those players. Now,
Yes.
you will also have these kind of players who have that tough
Yeah.
decision of should I be warming up on that bench or would
Bench
I
or
get a
the other.
chance to captain
True.
my country someday in the
Yeah.
World Cup,
True. That is there. Yeah.
right?
That is
So
definitely going to be
it's
one.
going to be interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's going to happen, like you said, it's going to happen because we look at it from a fan's passionate perspective, and people like Stan Kroenke and Abramovich, they are looking at it from
Yeah.
purely and solely business perspective.
Yeah.
It's like I ask myself this question: if I was Robin van Persie, would I move to Manchester
Yeah. That's
United? And my answer to that is, if I was working with HP and IBM comes in and offers me more, yes, I'm going to move. Why
exactly.
wouldn't I move?
Yes, you would. Yeah.
It's a
True. That
business,
is. It's a business at the end of the day. Yeah. And
right?
no, and it's a good. Yeah. And now that you've just touched on the Cronky part, I would let's just briefly talk about Arsenal's role in this. First of all, people are disappointed with each of their clubs, and we as a whole are definitely disappointed with the way Arsenal have worked. Like today, there have been reports about Arsenal players, staff, Arteta, all being in shock because they were not told about this. They were kept in the dark. Let me just talk about Stan Kroenke for a minute. So Stan Kroenke is a person who's a universally hated figure when it comes to Arsenal. Like when it comes to Arsenal, Arsenal fans dislike the guy. And over the last couple of, ever since he took over, when was that? 2008, 9, whatever. He has, when he got those majority shares, he's a person who the Arsenal fans have never been welcoming to. The guy takes over the club back in. He took full control of the club in 2018. Following that, he has the club has not been at a very good spot. He's been an absentee owner. His son has made appearances here and there. They've taken certain big decisions, but they've always taken them late at times. And I think the writings were on the wall the day that they took over. So when they took over, they first of all they hired. It was slightly prior to them. They took over of with and made Raul Sanlehi as the director. And Raul Sanlehi, I remember back then listening to it in a podcast, which they said Raul Sanlehi would be a power move because of the European Super League. He was always hired with that in mind. Now Raul Sanlehi has gone. That's a different case, but. As you know, he has had informal talks at when he was at the club, that is being reported today. Fast forward last the previous summer, KSE have they refinanced Arsenal's entire loan which they had with regards to the stadium. Why did they do that? Because they wanted full control of it. Nobody can buy Arsenal at this point of time. So let me put it this way to you: KSE have been extremely shrewd businessmen. I would say businessmen and not footballing men. They have been businessmen who have seen Arsenal as a brilliant business opportunity, as a business entity, and they have gone ahead with it. And for all the nonsense we have been playing on the pitch, At the end of the day, KSE has got what they want in putting Arsenal back into the elite bracket, which Arsenal was going away from it. And again, it was going away from it under KSE's ownership. But I mean, if you look at it, if, remove morals out of it, and you just look at it from a pure business point of view, KSEs have had a masterstroke in this. Without doing anything, like, for Arsenal, they have taken Arsenal back to the. And yeah, to just sum it up, uh, I don't know what kind of, if anybody had any impression that they could, one businessman would one day come and buy Arsenal from the Cronkies, it's not happening. I'm just saying it right now, especially after this move, which they have got a new cash cow. It's not going to happen. That's how
So
it is.
you talk about Stan Kroenke, 16 miles north from here is
The
is
Rams.
the Colorado Rapids,
Okay.
which is partially owned by Stan Kroenke. You
Yes.
have Nuggets. He has some shares in it, which is a
Yes.
basketball team. And you
Yes.
also have the Colorado Rockies. Rockies are the
Oh,
baseball team.
oh, okay.
All
Okay.
the
Yeah.
clubs have the same problem with him, that he does not put money in it.
Money.
The
Yeah.
only club which he has bought, which is not in
Is
Colorado, the
is
Denver
Rams.
Broncos, he has
Okay.
bought is called Rams, which is based out of LA.
Yeah.
That's the only place where he actually puts money. And that's a common complaint of people who have baseball as their priority in America, and people who
Okay.
actually like, who like football. So when I say
Yeah.
football, it's American football. And
The
when they
American
like
football.
NFL,
Yes.
people in Vegas might actually love him,
Yeah.
but everybody else, Europe wise, I know if you like football, you like Arsenal, you do not like Stan Kroenke.
Yeah.
It's
That's
a given.
yeah. So
But
yeah.
let's just wait and watch. And like you said, it's not going to not happen. If they have
Exactly.
come this
Yes.
far, it's because they have a solid plan in place. They know how
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
get votes, and they know how to get service providers to telecast their games.
True that.
And it's already
Definitely.
in the making. All these groundwork has already been done. And now they're going to
Yes.
take that next step. So it's going to happen. We just have to sit and watch Real
Yeah.
Madrid and Barcelona playing Arsenal day in, day out going forward.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
on that note, thank you so much for joining
Thanks,
me,
Gail.
Elroy.
Yes,
And I
Gail.
will
Yes.
probably be putting this on a podcast as well. Again, the
Sure. Sure.
podcast is Back to the Net. So I will
All right.
start off with this as a first podcast on that channel.
Cool. Cool. That's a good
I will
podcast
send
to
you the
have
link.
as well. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you
All right.
so much. So, guys,
Thank
if
you,
you have
Gail.
come in this far, this is a channel Back to the Nets where we talk about cricket, we talk about football as well from time to time. We would like to talk more about football, but I think that may start happening soon now that we are playing in, supposed to play in big clubs. We are a big club, so-called big club, and we will be playing big clubs in day out as
Yeah.
well. So watch us, follow us, subscribe to us, give us a shout out. That would help us a lot. And Elroy, thank you again for joining
Yeah.
us.
Thanks, Gail. We shall catch
Thank
up
you.
for
Stay
some other
healthy,
game
stay
again.
safe, guys, wherever you are. Thank you.
Thank you.